Hi, good day. So this is the Lone Canner, and today we are going to be looking at another Canadian rum, which is this one. And this one is a white rum. It is unaged, therefore it can't be called a rum by Canadian standards, for it has to have a minimum of 1 year of aging. But it is a rum in all but name, so I'm going to call it that. And it is made by a company called Carroll's, which is based in New Brunswick. Now, they started in 2016. They started off with kind of like a hobby horse, and then they turned it into a full-fledged distillery in 2019 when Matthew Carroll, the owner, he basically made some space in his family's bakery and created a little distillery there. So he does have a number of different other rums. They're all named after birds, like the sanderling, and then there's one called the cormorant. Really nice labeling. I really quite like this. But they're all kind of standard rums that you would expect somebody to make, right, off of a little pot still. This one is different. This one is a high ester rum. He calls it the RHE, high ester content, but essentially what he's done is he's done a 9-day closed fermentation and created a very ester-rich kind of rum at 65.1%. So that by itself has got three things that I like. It's got high esters, not too much. I mean, it isn't in the 1,000+ range. It has 65.1%, so this is like seriously strong, and it is unaged, which means that a lot of the, you'd kind of hope that a little bit more taste comes out of the other end than you would normally have. Now, you can't expect terroir here because this is coming from molasses that is probably Crosby molasses. I think that's what most of them use over there. And that comes from Guatemala, if I recall correctly. So you're not going to get that, but what you are going to get is a lot of very interesting taste. And now, this is one of the reasons why I like this, is because in Canada, you know that I have already made my opinion on most of this white nonsense that they sell and call rums. I'm very dismissive about it because most of it is just like, it's dead on arrival. It's nothing. It's just an alcohol delivery system for something that's tasteless, hopeless, graceless. It's like, what are you doing? And it's all about making the cocktail shine with the ingredients, but the rum is completely backward and has nothing to do there except give you that alcoholic jolt. This one is completely different. This one is the other way around. This one is going to have nothing but taste, and everything else, I better get the fuck out of the way. The real question is it any good? Well, yes, I do believe that. Now, it does have its weaknesses, right? But at 65.1%, you're going to get a lot of very interesting things off that pot still. Whew. Oh, yeah, that is quite intense. Now, here's the thing. You're going to get the usual ester stuff. So we are talking about fruits, very tart. You're getting some candy, lots of candy here that, can't be ignored at all. And most of it is actually just kind of like a sour red candy that puckers the mouth and the tongue. And, when you smell it, it's sort of like what was that, right? That's okay. It's kind of different. It is unusual. And we've got enough tasteless blow out there to appreciate something that really does try to run headfirst into the wall, which Matthew is really trying to do. The taste is where this thing really falls down for me, though, even though I did enjoy it because it is different and it is unique. And I look for those things in rums because we get so little of it these days where everybody's trying to copy somebody else. So what we've got here is strawberries, we've got pineapples, we've got those sour citrusy notes to it. There's also a little bit of sweet in there, and of course the sour kimchi kind of vibe keeps on going, and it really doesn't quite work here. What you also get quite a lot of is a sort of licorice note that wasn't really that evident on the nose. You kind of got a little bit of it, but it starts to take over. And by the time you're done with this thing 5 to 10 minutes later, that's it. That's all you're getting, and something's got to be done about that because it essentially just hijacks the whole thing like a strangler fig in the tree that it breeds on, kind of thing. So overall, it's an interesting rum. It is worth buying. I mean, it's $55. I bought mine by ordering directly from the distillery. The man does have sample sets. This thing is probably one of the most economical high ester rums you can get. I mean, think about it, right? You're going to pay $100 or more to get something from one of the islands like Martinique, the Grand Aromes, or from Jamaica, or from Réunion. You're getting this for $55 and it's in Canada. Like, I mean, come on. This is a reasonably good deal. Most people whose reviews I've read about it have been fairly kind of middle of the road about it. Probably one of the better pieces out there is the daiquiri challenge that Rum Revelations ran in early 2023. What they did is they ran a whole bunch of white rums, high ester rums against each other in a daiquiri and a neat pour environment, and this thing came up against the savannah and got blown out of the water. And to be fair to the guys, for all the vocabulary that they used to deride this thing, they did say, you know what, for a Canadian rum that's just starting and it's a little bit, you know what, it isn't too bad at a pour. It doesn't work in a daiquiri at all. So I would go with them on that one and say, you know what, don't try that. But we have so much nonsense going on in Canada with rums that pretend that they are but really aren't, that to see something like this is really quite heartening, but because it shows that an experimentative distillery culture does exist here. It isn't just the province of people like Jago or Ninefold or some of the new distilleries in the UK or Killick and Tinshed and the rest of the boys over in Australia. There is something here too, and we should pay attention to that and support that if we possibly can. I'm not saying you should mitigate your opinion, but at least say that, you know what, it's not too bad, which I think this is, right? For $55, this is a pretty good deal for me, and I would definitely, I've shared this out to everybody. So I hope you think the same. If you don't, leave a comment and tell me what you think. But otherwise, have a nice day, and I'll talk to you next time.